Hey you guys, this is Jess with Sourceful Journey, back with another video. So I wanted to do this quick video here before I got into focusing on work here. So I'm just trying to roll these videos out as quickly as possible before I finish up my work day here, because it's actually going to be a short work day today. So I wanted to focus on a topic here. I actually have my notes. Got a little notepad, new notepad to be exact. Cute little thing. So I'm going to go ahead and go over what I have written here for the next topic. So what I wrote down is what one holds physically can never measure up to what another person holds spiritually. There's a message behind this one. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. So what an individual holds physically can never measure up to what one holds spiritually. I've kind of touched on this topic quite a bit in several of my videos, but in various approaches. I am one that truly stands behind that notion because, let's face it, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So when you think about the very things that we tend to love so much in terms of 3D, like we tend to love our designer items, things like that. For those who are into the designer, personally, I am not. I was once that person, but not anymore, because it takes growth, it takes time to truly understand what's really important and what truly is not. And to be quite honest, a label is definitely not that important, especially when you think about the fact that there are so many replicas that are out there nowadays, right? Where you can spend very little to nothing to get it if you truly want it. But at the same time, there's so many items out there that are like not name brand as an example, or high-end quality names, but yet still look fairly nice, right? So it really just depends on priorities, what truly is important to the individual. I say all that to say, when you think about what one gains when it comes to the material side is fleeting. It doesn't last forever. It's fleeting in the sense where once one purchased that item, let's say you purchased a nice Givenchy bag. Let's go with that, ladies. And let's say it's one of the most recent seasons. Very nice bag. No one has this particular bag as of yet. And yet, you wear it maybe 1 or 2 times. And that's that. It goes on the shelf. Do you ever consider looking back and maybe using that bag again? Chances are you probably won't. You just probably wanted it for those 1 or 2 times and that was it. But now it's sitting on your shelf collecting dust. I know for me, I'm guilty of this. Use an example. I have always been one that loved my bags, my shoes. I'm a heels girl to the end. Started wearing more flats now, but I keep my flats pretty nice too. But the point I'm trying to drive home here, I was that type of person. I would buy a certain item or items saying, "Ooh, I know this look nice with a nice dress that I got back at home," or "Oh, I know this look nice with that skirt I have in the corner," or things like that. And I kid you not, a lot of the heels and things I bought, I either never worn them or maybe worn them once or twice and just sat up there collecting dust. What was the point of that? That was money down the drain for nothing. And again, that's when you start to notice that change, because you realize, like, when you go into stores or you're shopping online, what I do personally now, I ask myself, do I really need that item? How many times do I really see myself wearing that item? Usually that is the telltale sign if it's worth even considering purchasing or not. And that's a good way to approach it, because again, that could be more money in your pocket where you can actually allocate it to something that is more important, that you could see grow over time, right? So this is where we're talking about the whole thing and looking into investments, things like that. There's such a plethora of areas you can go into looking into in terms of like ways to make your money grow and where you can see it actually grow daily. So outside of all that, when we're talking about the spiritual front, I think someone who tends to focus more on their spiritual side of the spectrum, more on the internal side, that tends to have more value, because you're talking about the longevity of the betterment of self. It's kind of like that old saying, and I'm paraphrasing, the clothes don't make the man, or something to that nature. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? I think it's the clothes do not make the man. It's something to that nature. The point I'm trying to drive home with that is that we, as the beings, technically make the clothes, right? So certain material items should not define who you are as an individual. It's the spiritual that needs to define who you are as an individual. That is the part that is going to withstand the test of time. When you think about the type of impact you have within your own dwelling, as well as outside in that world, that's the part that is going to be sufficient. That's the part that trumps it all, okay? So my hope is that as a collective, people will start to understand the importance of the spiritual side of the spectrum rather than this material, because the material, as I said earlier, it's fleeting. A lot of this stuff is going to end up becoming obsolete, or it's going to end up losing value in regards to not even being as popular as it is now. I made another analogy about this famous watchmaker the celebrities are raving about. I think it's Philippe something, I don't know, I forgot the guy's name, but as an example, people seem to love his watches, his jewelry, but yet it's so expensive, and you know, all it does is just tick tick tock, right? So it does the same concept of what one needs, which is just to keep track of time and such, right? So you have to ask yourself, again, when you look at those type of items, how often will you wear those items? And you know, think about, can you actually purchase something else that can actually do the same thing for a lesser cost while still being able to pocket a good chunk of that money, or else invest into something else that's truly important? You know, doing that all the while still focusing on the spiritual aspect of things, because again, do understand this material part of the spectrum is fleeting. It's not going to last forever. These things are man-made constructs. So again, these very material items, they did not make us. God, source made us, right? Let's not lose sight of that. Let's keep that in mind, that again, the spiritual part is what truly trumps it all. And we have to really focus on our spiritual side more so than this material nonsense, because it's not going to last forever. Another analogy, when you think about, maybe if you come across a vintage item, let's say a vintage purse. Let's use that as an example. I remember I went to this one store. It was like a little thrift store. I think it was it Goodwill? No, it was a resale shop. It was like a little resale shop, like a, I guess you could say like a little boutique. It had like nice little vintage jewelry. I like looking at things like that too. They also had a vintage purse in there, and it had these old school beads. It had to come from like what they call the roaring 20s, you know, like the flapper days. Those who are a bit of history buffs, you guys know what I'm talking about, where maybe they wore like the different headdresses, and they had the shimmering dresses with the beads to it, things like that. So the purse I saw, it was so beautiful. It was very intricate and detailed. They really did a phenomenal job with the beadwork on this purse. But as I was touching it, I could tell the beads had a bit of like a film to it, like a greasy film. You know, like when something has been sitting and it's old, it's been for like ages, it gets like a certain like film or something over it if it has been cleaned properly to maintain its appearance. So I could tell this particular purse did not have a proper cleaning to keep it where the beads didn't feel so slimy, if you will. So the point I'm trying to make here, even those type of items, like let's say that was a very classic piece. Let's say it was of value then, but now it's sitting in a resale shop with a film of sorts over the beads because it wasn't properly kept up. That brings down the value. And obviously it brought down the value significantly because of the fact that it's, again, in a resale shop, going for no more than maybe $5. Do you see where I'm getting at here? We need to start to adjust our priorities when it comes to what's truly important, and the reality of it all, the material should not be important. It needs to be the spiritual. That is all for today's quick video. I'd like to know what you guys think about that as well. Think of where you are now in regards to your day-to-day. What do you consider to be your top priorities? Has your perspective changed from where it once was? I know for me, as I said, mine's changed tremendously because I was once that person, always looking at the latest and wanting the latest of this, that, blah, blah, blah. And I realized as time progressed onward, like, wow, I'm really wasting money. And a lot of the stuff, like I mentioned in one of my earlier videos, a lot of that stuff, especially like my heels and things like that, I'm like, I haven't gotten a chance to wear them. I purchased them because I'm like, oh, that looked nice with that skirt, or that looked nice with that dress. But they were sitting on my shelf just collecting dust. And then I eventually ended up doing something great with it, which was I donated those items. So someone lucked out with some nice items, and that made me feel good. So it was a good way to kind of make up for the frivolous spending I was doing, thinking I needed that item, but I really did not. So think of times where you guys encountered this, and how has that changed your thought process when it comes to what truly matters, which should be for everyone the spiritual side, I would hope. I would hope that we're starting to understand that in our own day-to-day lives as we progress onward here. I hope I'm not the only one. And I'm sure I'm not. I'm just saying that jokingly, you guys. But leave your thoughts in the comment section below, or continue to message me. You guys are amazing when it comes to messaging and emailing, so definitely keep that going. I always look forward to seeing that stuff, and it brightens my day. It really does. I want you guys to know that also consultations are open, but they're open for next week because Friday being today, as well as Saturday, it's booked. It's booked. Sundays, it's a day of rest for me, so I don't do anything there. But on Monday onward, there should still be some spots available. Definitely take advantage. For a lot of you who are coming on board, welcome, welcome, welcome. I do see you trickling in here on my pages. I look at the various pages, and it's nice to see that you guys are partaking in the experience. I do want to point out to a lot of you who are newcomers to my pages, do know that I also am in the field house of keynote speaking as well as motivational speaking. So if your organization has an event that you would like for me to come and speak at, by all means, have someone from the head of your organization to reach out to me, and then we can, of course, set up the details accordingly. So as always, you guys, I'm definitely sending you with love and light. I'm gonna go ahead and get to work here, and I will speak to you guys in the next video. Be blessed, you guys.